Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are blasé. They're just non-enticing. They're just non-interesting. They don't tickle my fancy. They don't appease me. You have a lot of rehashed sequels. You also have ports from other consoles that are Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First off, Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are blasé. They're just non-enticing. They're uninteresting, and they don't tickle my fancy. They don't appease me. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels coming to the Nintendo Switch. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are blasé. They're uninteresting, they're not enticing, they don't appease me. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels coming to the Wii, and you have a bunch of ports coming to the Nintendo Switch. When I said Wii earlier, I meant to say Nintendo Switch, so please disregard that blunder. So, in other words, the host of launch titles just are not worthwhile and just don't warrant the purchase of the Nintendo Switch. Moving on, the second reason has to do with pricing. This reason appertains to pricing. The pricing is just exorbitant. The pricing is unaffordable, to say the least. You have to relinquish well over $300 to get the console, and that amount of money is just not available to me at the moment. And even if it were, I just don't think that this console has hardware specifications and software specifications to warrant relinquishing over $300 to purchase it. Let's go good. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is not worth purchasing. First and foremost, the launch titles are blasé. The launch titles are uninteresting, they're non-appealing, and they don't entice me to want to buy a Nintendo Switch. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels coming to the Nintendo Switch. You have a bunch of video games ported from other consoles coming to the Nintendo Switch that are being degraded as a Nintendo Switch port. So it's just quite a shame and quite a pity that the host of video games coming to the Nintendo Switch in its launch are relatively disappointing. There's nothing really new that I'm exhilarated about, which has been released on the Nintendo Switch. The Zelda game looks somewhat interesting, but it's more or less similar to games of the past. I mean, it's just another open world hack and slash RPG. So, moving on, the second reason is that the pricing is exorbitant. The pricing is just unaffordable, to say the least. Relinquishing over $300 for a console with inferior specifications is just not worth it. The money is not valuable to me. I can't afford it. And even if it were within the parameters of my budget, I still wouldn't get it because it just doesn't have enough value to warrant, to vindicate, to justify its asking price. So maybe for $200 I would take heed of the prospect of buying it, but for over $300 I just can't vindicate buying it when the specifications are so inferior. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch library is just blasé. The host of video games that are preordained to be released for the Nintendo Switch on its launch are just unappealing. They don't appease me. They don't entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels coming to the Nintendo Switch. You have a bunch of video games ported from other consoles that are coming to the Nintendo Switch. So there's nothing really novel, there's nothing really extraordinary, there's nothing really innovative that's going to entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch in its launch. So the second reason why I'm foregoing buying the Nintendo Switch is that the pricing is out of control. The pricing is exorbitant, to say the least. The pricing is outside the parameters of my budget. I just don't think that I just don't believe in any facet that the Nintendo Switch warrants its asking price. Its specifications are inferior, its launch titles are unappealing, and it doesn't really have any gimmicks nor any features that truly lure me to want to buy the system. So there's nothing really tempting here, there's nothing really enticing here, there's nothing here that's given me the impetus to buy the console amid its launch or during the latter half of 2017. The third and final reason is that the specifications are inferior to the consoles I already own. The Nintendo Switch is not on par with the PlayStation 4 nor the Xbox One, or even an antiquated, outdated, custom-made computer from 2012. So why would I relinquish $300 when I have superior products that can play the video games developed by third parties at superior frame rates and at a superior resolution? So it just doesn't make any sense from my perspective to buy the Nintendo Switch in 2017. Thanks for watching. Let's go once more. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is not worth buying in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are blasé. They don't tickle my fancy, they're unappealing, they don't appease me, they don't entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch. Nothing being released and with the Nintendo Switch launch, brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is not worth buying in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch are just blasé. They're unappealing, they don't tickle my fancy, they don't appease me, they don't entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch. Nothing being released for the Nintendo Switch in mid-2017 is novel. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo... Oh, shit. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is not worth buying in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are just blasé. They're unappealing, they don't tickle my fancy, they don't appease me. Nothing being released for the Nintendo Switch amid its launch is truly... Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is not worth buying in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are just blasé. They don't appease me, they don't tickle my fancy, they don't entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch. The launch titles are just ports from other consoles. They're just rehash sequels. They don't really offer anything novel. They don't really offer anything extraordinary. There's nothing out of the ordinary. There's nothing abnormal. It's more or less what I've already experienced. So the host of launch titles coming out for the Nintendo Switch, the initial library, is just non-enticing, to say the least. Moving on. The second reason is that the price is just exorbitant. The price is just out of control. It's outside the parameters of my budget. I can't afford to spend over $300 on an inferior console. Sure, some games that are preordained to be released for the Nintendo Switch in the pending years will have merit, but at the moment I just can't vindicate relinquishing over $300 to buy an inferior console. The third reason is that the Nintendo Switch is just inferior to all the consoles I already own that were released in recent years. So it's not up to par with the Xbox One, it's not up to par with the PlayStation 4, it's not up to par with my antiquated, custom-made PC from 2012, so I just can't justify buying the Nintendo Switch, especially when I already own superior hardware. So those are the top 3 reasons. To give you a synopsis, in short, to recapitulate, I'd like to inform you of the following. I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch because it's outside the parameters of my budget. The launch titles for the Nintendo Switch don't appease me, and they look uninteresting, to say the least, and because the software and hardware is far inferior to what I already own and what has already been released. So those are the top 3 reasons why I am abstaining from buying the Nintendo Switch this year. Perhaps I'll consider buying it in 2019 if the price plunges beneath $200, but as of now I'm going to forego buying the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to desist from buying it and relish what I already have and not overclutter my life with more consoles that I don't need. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch are just blasé. They're unappealing, they're not enticing, they don't tickle my fancy, they don't appease me. It's more or less games that I already have. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels being released for the Nintendo Switch, you have a bunch of ports coming, you have a bunch of games that are being ported to the Nintendo Switch, so it's just quite a shame and quite a pity that the Nintendo Switch's launch library is so disappointing, but it is what it is. Moving on, the second reason is that the price is just exorbitant. The price is outside the parameters of my budget. I can't afford to relinquish $300 on an inferior console. Even if I had the money, I just couldn't vindicate buying it. It's far inferior to what I already own, and the pricing is just outrageous for its specifications. So that's the second reason. The pricing is just unbearable. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch library for the Nintendo Switch is just blasé. The titles are uninteresting, they're not enticing, they're unappealing, they don't appease me, they don't tickle my fancy, and they're more or less video games I already played. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels being released for the Wii. Damn, I meant to say Nintendo Switch. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons. Brace yourself for sheer epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are just blasé. The launch library is just unappealing. It does not entice me to want to buy the Nintendo Switch. It's just uninteresting. Brace yourself for unprecedented epicness, because today I'm going to reveal the top 3 reasons why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch in 2017. First and foremost, the launch titles are just blasé. The launch library is uninteresting, to say the least. It does not appease me, it does not tickle my fancy, it does not appeal to my niche interests. It's more or less video games that I already played. You have a bunch of video games that are being ported to the Nintendo Switch. You have a bunch of rehashed sequels that are preordained to be released for the Nintendo Switch. So it all culminates in a recipe for disaster. At best, it culminates in a recipe for insipid mediocrity, which is something that I'm not content with, which is something that I do not want to settle for if I don't have to. The second reason is that the pricing is just out of control. Based on the specifications, the pricing should be significantly lower, but for over $300 I just can't vindicate nor justify buying the Nintendo Switch. It's outside the parameters of my budget. The third and final reason is that the console is just inferior to consoles that I already own. It's inferior to consoles that were released years ago in 2013. It's quite a shame and quite a pity that the Nintendo Switch's specifications are not to par with the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 or even an antiquated custom-made 2012 computer, but it is what it is. So why would I relinquish over $300 buying the console when I already have superior consoles? It just wouldn't make any sense to buy the Nintendo Switch at this point. So Nintendo can rectify the issue by upgrading the hardware components of the Nintendo Switch. Maybe they can release the Nintendo Switch Pro, or maybe they can resolve the issue by decreasing the price of the Nintendo Switch. So to give you a synopsis and conclusion, in short, it's not worth buying from my perspective, at least not this year, until the price plunges, until better titles are released that are not more or less what we already played, and until the specifications are augmented. I just can't vindicate buying it. So that's everything I want to do, divulge and notify you of. The launch library is disappointing. The price is outrageously high and is inferior to competitive. It's inferior to its competitor consoles. I was about to say it's inferior to competitive platforms, but the competitive platforms such as Steam are eons ahead of the Nintendo Switch, so I shouldn't make that comparison. So I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. I'm curious whether or not you're going to buy the Nintendo Switch this year or in the subsequent years, so notify me of your purchase and decision in the comments below. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Bye. There we go.